Hello and welcome back to Alex at the desk. Yes, welcome back to the desk. As you can see, or may or may not be able to see, it is 20 days until Christmas. And so we're going to do some opening and painting today. And I've got here my box, which is from Sam's Trains. I've got some couplings and things. And in here I've got two Wagons. So we'll just pop that over there, the packing peanut, and we will have a look. So inside these bubble wraps we have some Era 1 vans. So I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to show you them a bit better, and then I'm going to explain how I'm going to paint them. Yes, so here we are at the desk, and zoom in so we can have a look at these wagons. So these are the Sam's Trains Era 1 closed vans. Just checking that the roofs are on because they look a bit loose there, but no, they're on. Right, so these are essentially the same as the other Era 1 rolling stock in that they are 3D printed and they're on this short little chassis which has little NEM pockets, so you can use these Era 1 Sam's Trains couplings with little hoops, or you can use the tension lock couplings if you want. So the idea with these wagons, and I've got two of them, is that I'm going to paint them up and hopefully I'll be able to run them during the Christmas special. So I've got two of them, and my plan is to paint them up in grey, but I'm thinking of doing different coloured frames. So one might have like a green frame and one might have a red frame. So I'm going to take the bodies off of the chassis by undoing the two screws so that I can paint them, and then I'll also be able to paint the chassis as well, hopefully. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to take these apart now with my screwdriver. So now we have them all separate. And I've got a little box here from the wagon, and I can put the screws into the box so that I don't lose them if the screw doesn't want to come out. There we are. So we can put our pieces that we're not looking at right now into the box. There we are, stored out the way. So now we're going to repaint these vans. And to do that, I've got some brushes here. And I'm going to be painting them in grey. This is a Revel paint. And I've got my handy stick for stirring. So I'm going to open this up. And give it a bit of a stir. I'm going to rest that there, and then I'm just going to take the grey paint there and I'm just going to brush it on. And by using a bit of Christmas magic, the second fan can be painted grey very quickly. And now we can start on the roofs. So the roofs are going to be a slightly lighter grey. I don't know if I've got any of this lighter grey left. This is a matte 76, but it's a bit sludgy. But that might actually work in our favour because the roofs, being 3D printed, have a sort of texture to them. So I'm going to hold this gently, and I'm going to paint the roof with that. I can actually pop it down there onto the table for a second, just brush on my my didn't realise my hand was in the way there. There. There we are. And once again, by the power of Christmas magic, we'll paint the other roof. Right, so while those are drying, we can go and paint the frames. So we have our two frames here, and I have what I think is a matte 48. And that's just going to be used. I decided that actually I'm just going to paint the two vans green, but I think I've got other wagons as well that I'm going to do a slightly different colour on to get a bit of variation. And I love getting these little Sandwich Trains wagons. I find them very enjoyable. How's that looking? A little bit more on the other side there, and around there, and a bit on this end. Ooh. Right, I think we've got more or less all the areas we needed to paint covered. So, I've painted the wheel a bit too. Oh well. Right, I'm going to let all of that paint dry. Right, and now the paint is dry, I think, we can look at what I'm going to paint onto these vans. And I'm planning on painting some words onto them with a fairly crude method of hand painting, and it's going to be interesting because I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but my idea is just that one of them is going to say ale on it, thinking that maybe there's some sort of transshipment of ale, maybe in bottles in one of these, and the other one, since it's a Sam's Trains wagon and there are certain themes from the live streams he's done in the past, I'm going to write eggs. So I'm going to attempt to do this now, and I have no idea how it's going to look. I don't know whether I should write it small on this piece here or big, because this brush is probably a little bit too big for writing ale, but I might be able to. It's a little bit crude, but we can dab it off and start again. Right, take a little bit of the other paint off now. Maybe a larger letter would be better. a bit too much paint down there. This is proving to be harder than I thought it was going to be. And I knew it was going to be hard, but I didn't realise it was going to be this hard. Because we've got a bit of a guide there now. There we go. There. The trick is not having too much paint, but also not having too little. I might even go over it with a bit of black acrylic to weather it down again afterwards. It turns out I'm not very steady when it comes to painting, but it's not the end of the world. It just looked like the wagon's covered in water now, though. And then we can tone that down afterwards. Now, how can I write this? I don't know if a cocktail stick would work. That's not too bad. That's kind of the look that I wanted. It could probably be a bit more centered, but I'll do it better on the other side. So we place the L in the middle. There. Ale. And ale. Right. So now we're going to try the eggs. Which we're going to try EGGS. So this is tricky. There you go. Eggs. Eggs. Eggs and ale. Eggs, ale. And now, if we're careful, we can start to reassemble our chassis. So I've got to try and get these screws back in. And then we can attach the bodies now. Hopefully I won't mess up the paint as I do this, as the lettering is still a little bit wet. Line up these, and they should just screw back in. One, and the other one. A wagon. Maybe someone had been at the ale when they decided to write the signs on the side of the wagon in real life, or in the fictionalized real life. So there we are. We have our two vans painted up, and like I said, I might weather them in future, but I'll see how they get on in the actual rig. So I'll put those up the top and show you how they look on the rails. But I won't be putting them into a train until the Christmas special, because I've got a few other bits that I need to get painted up ready for that. And there they are, the egg van and the ale pan. And like the rest of the Sam's Trains Era 1 rolling stock, these are incredibly free rolling. Well, they look more or less exactly like I wanted them to look, and obviously the writing isn't possibly as finesse as, you know, I might be expecting if I was to buy something, you know, printed, or if I'd have gone out and got transfers, but I think they look good enough for me anyways. So I think that's more or less where I'm going to leave this episode. So there we have them, all nicely painted up on the railway, and like I said, I'll be running them hopefully in the Christmas special if we get there. Obviously Christmas is still a little while off yet, so I'll have some more little projects like this to be painting up over the next week or so. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Alex at the desk, and you've been a wonderful audience, and I'll see you again very soon here at the desk for another episode. Don't forget you can like, comment, share and subscribe, and it's time to say there's the subscribe bubble and the playlist thing. But now I'm off because my hands are a bit painty and I need to figure out what I'm going to assemble next. Ta-ra!